Dream SMP was the biggest thing in Minecraft for a while, I think.
I miss Technoblade. I do.
Yeah, same, so much.
Creator. Was there a lot of people on Twitter trying to cancel the creators, and do you remember? You know, Americans woke up in the morning, started their online class, had Tommy on in the background. That was what life was at the time.
I would literally every night be watching it with my brothers. Every night, without fail.
I don't leave the house much, but I didn't like COVID because it meant when I wanted to leave the house, I couldn't.
You know, you can't walk around in iron arm in Lifesteal. You'll get your life stolen.
Prince Am has dropped out of Block Wars and done Lifesteal lore.
I was going to say, I remember Scott and Lizzie and Smallish Beans and so on, they all met because of SMPs, basically.
Remember Sky does Minecraft's prison roleplays and stuff like that, like 9 years ago. The intro, I remember the intro and everything. Oh my god! I saw someone on Twitter the other day, because they didn't want to say Quackity, referred to him as the duck that doesn't quack. It was a case of Quackity announced it, Dream was like, oh my god, I was going to do that, but then never actually did it. So
they just put in so much effort into making these incredible SMPs that are just so well themed and so well done.
Like Rats SMP, they were the size of rats and they were living in this home and they had actual like humans and a cat that chased after them.
That's
like
so cool.
Huge scale humans. It was so good.
So how do you keep an SMP alive? Are SMPs oversaturated? Alright lads, welcome back to the second edition of Midweek MC, the part of the podcast where I sit down with the amazing co-host, Captain AJX, and we waffle about things that happen in Minecraft that week, general topics in Minecraft, or just general topics. But today, we have gone for the general topics in Minecraft route, can't even speak English. And as you can see by the title, we are going to be talking about Minecraft SMPs. How are you today, AJX?
I'm good, thank you. How are you yourself?
I am good, thank you. I think we've been on a call for like 20 minutes just waffling away to each other. Should have hit record ages ago.
True that, indeed, yes.
Any news from the past week?
Oh, I'm in Mayhem, and so are you.
Yes,
that's exciting.
That got announced, didn't it? Oh yeah.
We're versus each other and the Lime Armors, which is going to be cool.
Hey, what is your team again for that?
Oh, that's a question. It has changed at some point, so it is definitely Cloud. I remember Cloud. MC Morgan plays, and then I remember the last person. They had a strange name. Oh, Joan.
Oh, jeez. My team's pretty sick. My team's pretty cool.
Your team's very sick.
I signed up with Potato Pie 25. He is a Bedrock content creator, and he wanted to sign up, but preferably with someone he knew, which would have been me. So yeah, we signed up together, and then we got teamed with a Cat Conjurers. I'm just gonna say Andrus because it's easier. Andrus and Boostfar, who they signed up together, which is a crazy team. Who knows? Maybe one day I could see them as podcast guests. But I'm very happy just to be doing Midweek MC today with you, Captain AJ.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm very excited about the topic SMPs.
Exactly.
The bread and butter of the Minecraft community.
As announced prior, this is not going to be a structured podcast. I mean, I assume you have it up on the screen. We have up on our screens SMPs and different little topics. But there's not really a structure to this. We're just going to, like I said, Midweek MC is just going to be us waffling away. Unlike the guest podcast, we are just going to talk. And this will be the last time I explain this. So if you're watching a future, for anyone who watches a future Midweek MC and doesn't watch this one, that's their problem. So... So, I guess we should probably get started. What do you want to start with? Do you want to start with talking about our SMPs, like our experience in SMPs, or do you want to talk about SMPs in the past?
Oh, I want to talk about SMPs in the past because I think there's a big one that has to be talked about first.
What's that one, Ajax?
It has to be Dream SMP. I think we have to kick it off. Yes.
And I do want to specify, because I know there's a lot of like thingies regarding Dream and Dream SMP, which we're not going to get into. But we are talking specifically about the SMP itself and its impact on the community at the time. Just want to specify that now.
Which was huge. Like Dream SMP was a big part of Minecraft's like revival and how it became so big. Like it was not only that, it was a big part of lockdown. Like the world was locked down, and that was a huge source of entertainment for ages. For about, over 2 years in the end. It was Dream SMP was the biggest thing in Minecraft for a while, I think.
According to Google, Dream SMP started on the 24th of April 2020.
Yes, I've done 2 videos in the past. I did a 1-year Dream SMP and a 2-year Dream SMP recaps. So just recap of the lore. And basically nothing happens in the first 2 months, though. So basically Dream creates a server and invites George, Saplap, Bad Boy Halo, and so on. And they play for a bit. And they're like, no, this, we're making content, so it's not really the main focus. And then Tommy joins, and then it explodes. It was like nothing for ages, and then Tommy joins.
Do you have any clue why it began? Was it because of lockdown, or was that just coincidental timing?
I think just for Dream streaming, I think they just wanted something to chill on, and like George, Dream, and Sapnap streaming, and yeah, it was just a survival multiplayer like any other, and then it became huge pretty much overnight.
On the day that Dream SMP came out, or started, which was 24th of April 2020, I hadn't even started streaming. I started streaming in March 2021. So I wasn't even really in the Minecraft. I mean, I made Minecraft YouTube videos, but I wasn't actually in the community at the time that Dream SMP began. What was I uploading in 2020? Oh, I was probably still doing command block tutorials. Yeah, I would have still been doing command block tutorials when Dream SMP started. So that's because the command block tutorials got quite a lot of views for me before COVID, because I started them in 2019, and then COVID hit like about April 2020, right? I think, or was it?
It was March. It was March. It was late March 2020.
Yeah, so at that time I was also making server content as well, but I just hadn't started streaming yet. Jeez, I didn't realize that I wasn't making content during COVID. I thought I was streaming the entire time.
I hadn't started yet either at all.
When did this video come out? This came out in March 2021. What was I doing in 2020 then?
3.5 years ago.
I was literally making Minecraft content in 2021. I built on Minecraft Bedrock in May 19th, 2020. Here we go. Minecraft Bedrock Edition Death Swap. I built a Death Swap on Bedrock Edition with commands and played it with my good friend Jellyfish Gaming. I had a YouTube intro, I had an outro, and all my videos were recorded on. So basically, I had a £200 laptop that I was given for college. I was streaming on Mixer at the time. That's the one in 2020. I streamed on Mixer.
Oh wow.
And I used to record, so I used to have like an Elgato capture card that my brother got for Christmas one time, but never used it, so he gave it to me. And I'd record my Xbox onto my laptop, and then my laptop couldn't run HitFilm Express, which is what I use now. So I'd cut out the intro, cut out the outro, and I just upload raw footage, like 20 minutes long command block tutorials, everything. I wouldn't cough, I wouldn't sneeze, complete unedited.
Damn, wow.
And then during this period, Dream SMP was going on, and I had no clue where it was.
Yeah,
I wasn't in that community.
That's the crazy part, isn't it?
But you were there at the start of it all, yeah?
So I watched the start of the Dream SMP. I wasn't creating videos or anything, but I was already watching and so on. Basically, before the Dream SMP, there was an SMP called SMP Earth, which Wilbur had, which was basically the world was made in Minecraft, and everyone would take like certain sections of the world. So, for example, Technoblade took Antarctica, and Tommy took North Korea, and called it Business Bay. He called it Business Bay, and it was they basically started wars against each other. So I started watching Tommy from that, and then obviously he starts joining this, and me and my brothers for that first like 6 months, even my sister started getting into it, my younger sister as well, were just obsessively watching every single night. My brothers, when Techno joined eventually, because that was a huge part. Basically it was just the building up to everything that happened, the fact it was meant to be, a joke. Tommy joins, and then Wilbur joins and starts making a story out of it with the drug van. Well, L'Manburg, But starting with the drug van, and then onwards from there, it was such a big deal. And then the L'Manburg storyline was definitely peak Dream SMP. I remember the end of season 1, just the craziness of it all. You'd had like Technoblade join, you'd had so many people that were huge in the Minecraft community then. Purple was in it, Fundy, Filzer joined on the finale to try and stop Wilbur from blowing up L'Manburg. The story crafted by Wilbur is very much lightning in the bottle, I think, the Dream SMP. like it could have just gone Tommy acts up every few days, and they had a little mini disc war, him and Dream, and that's sort of how everything got started. But when Wilbur came in and started making it this huge story and like making it what it is today and how it's known about, it was so amazing.
Once the lore aspect was added, that's when it went crazy.
Yeah, that first 6 months was just incredible. The first season of the Dream SMP.
Because once again, looking at numbers. Oh, sorry, Karen.
Beyond anything like that's been done even now, I think. There's a few, but like in terms of actual popularity, it's been nothing. Nothing's touched it.
Because in May 2020, Tommy, from May onwards, he was averaging about 1k to 2k to 3k. Then in July, it just starts going up and up and up constantly for 5k, 10k, 30k, 40k. And then eventually, whatever happened on bloody Jan 20th.
Oh, so
488,000 average views.
That's when he got exiled. So he got exiled from L'Manburg. So that's when Wilbur stopped writing it, and it sort of became Dream and Tommy and Techno writing, basically.
Because I remember that. Because that's when I started watching. Because I remember like Tommy at Techno's house. Techno lived in like the snow biome. He had a big obsession with like Antarctica and snow biomes, didn't he?
I think it was isolation. He quite liked the idea
that would
of
be the one, yeah. So and Tommy went and lived with him. I remember the sub bell, the sellout bell.
Oh yes,
oh,
the sub bell. It was amazing.
I miss Technoblade. I do.
Yeah, same, so much.
Creator. But he's one of them who made Dream SMP what Dream SMP was. Like him, like obviously there's a lot of people in Dream SMP that made it together. But like at the time, Dream, Tommy in it, Techno, Wilbur, they were who made Dream SMP kind of thing. Like Dream SMP, I know there was the other ones beforehand, but even Lifesteal SMP didn't start until early 2021. So Dream SMP essentially kickstarted the whole big SMP game, because now we have Lifesteal SMP and like all these other ones like Caboodle SMP. I don't know too much on every single one of them, and there's obviously a lot of other really big ones, and then ones that are around today that we'll get into. But like that was essentially, like you said, the main thing that kind of put SMPs on the map essentially.
Yeah, there'd been ones before, but nothing in the like scale of Dream SMP. Just
the time.
Everyone.
Well,
I remember Techno was getting almost 1 million live viewers. 1 million live viewers, which is nuts. And Tommy was getting like 500k live viewers. He's basically almost on 100k Twitch subs without like a subathon or anything like that, which was mind blowing at the time. And I just think it was just such a huge part of the history of Minecraft, not just like anything beyond that, but just all of Minecraft is what it is because the Dream SMP in a way, which is mental to say, but I think it's true, and that's kind of crazy.
And then obviously, like once again with the whole lore thing of it, kind of added to the SMP. And then when did Dream SMP end? I can't even remember. Was it this year?
So it ended last year, around this time last year, so around September, October.
It's already been that long.
It might have been this year, I guess.
I think it died, like in quotation marks, died last year, but then actually ended this year, like the server shut down. I remember Tommy making a tribute video earlier this year because it had Technoblade in it.
Yeah. It was around that time. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because it definitely would have been last year or this year. Sorry.
Something along them lines. Yeah.
But crazy to think.
I wonder. Sorry.
It's crazy to think that it's been 3.5 years since it started. It feels like not that long ago, and yet we're here now.
And we're sitting on the podcast probably talking about it as if like it's in the past.
It's ancient history.
Exactly, yeah. It's something that isn't around anymore. It's crazy. But I mean, I'd like to wonder how. I mean, it's always going to be a question, and the question is never going to be answered. How well would it have done if COVID didn't exist? Would it have still been there? Would Wilbur have still joined it? Would the L'Manburg? I don't know why I called it L'Manburg. My bad. L'Manburg. Would it have existed? Would the lore have existed? Would Tommy in it have averaged 400,000 views? Most likely not. I want to say I think it would have done as well, but the content creators viewership wise, everybody was at home, everybody was watching, and what was the big thing at the time that the entire Minecraft community knew about, other than me excelling command blocks on Bedrock, which is a whole different Dream SMP, that was the talking point. That's what everyone knew about. I don't want to get into a negative topic. I do just want to ask you as a question. Was there a lot of like drama, but like, do you know how like a lot of people are trying to cancel people, and like why I had to specify at the start of the podcast that we're talking about Dream SMP at the time, not Dream SMP now. Talking about Dream at the time, not Dream now. Was there a lot of people on Twitter trying to cancel the creators, and do you remember?
I think that started around the end of season. There was became a lot more dramarific around that point. And, you know, for whatever reason. But I think the start was like, oh, Tommy's annoying. But that was about as much as you'd get as we got on and further. It was a lot about the characters as well, originally. You know, you'd have certain complaints about certain characters being used, certain other characters being used in different ways. The whole Eric portrayal, that was a huge thing. But I don't think, like, from memory, it wasn't as... I think what echoed as now.
So the issue with SMPs as well, like not the SMP itself, it's just what comes from the SMPs. It's like people take it too serious, like the Eric betrayal. Eric didn't betray Tommy in real life. They didn't hate each other in real life because of it. They didn't like turn on each other in real life. It was the SMP. It was roleplay. It was them playing a part. When Tommy and he got exiled from thing, or when people would be rude to Tommy and or call Tommy annoying. I mean, Tommy and his whole character was being annoying, firstly. But it's also a case of like they didn't hate him. They didn't exile him from their IRL friend group. I hate saying IRL, but you know what I mean. Like they didn't exile him from it. They didn't kick him out. They didn't like. It was SMP roleplay, and people took it too seriously. And like you don't do that with movies. You don't do that with TV shows. Like I love The Walking Dead, but I don't think because Rick killed someone in the show that he killed multiple people in real life. Like I don't
imagine.
It's a TV show. Dream SMP was essentially a TV show. It wasn't, but it was, you know. And that's what SMPs are. That's why when you see all these YouTube videos, which we'll get into talking about like in a minute, it's like, you know, when they're like, oh, I snuck onto this base and like trapped 15 people, or I snuck into this SMP as a disguise. Like they're not doing this in person. They're not sneaking up on people in real life and like killing them. It's just role play. It's just a YouTube video, you know. And I think that's like people have always been quite bad. It depends. Not trying to generalize it. I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, but like people sometimes take it too like seriously, kind of thing.
Yeah, right? I definitely think there's a case in saying that. I definitely think so as well. But you know, it was such a huge thing for so long, and I think it definitely sparked something within the community. I mean, that Minecraft at that point, you know, you got the rise of MCC as well. At that time, everything started going in the right direction. You said, you know, would it have happened if COVID hadn't happened? Probably not. It was literally lightning in a bottle. And that sounds like corny to say. You say that about incredible TV shows, but at one point for millions of people out there, this was that incredible TV show.
Exactly, but I'm saying people weren't. Not everyone was good at distinguishing the difference between a TV show and
definitely. Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't mean on that. I just mean in terms of everyone was watching this. Everyone that cared about it. The amount of viewers they went up in a couple of days, not even like the months, days, that this suddenly everyone was watching it.
I mean, you know, Americans woke up in the morning, started their online class, had Tommy and it on in the background. That was what life was at the time. Tommy and it.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's just weird looking back on now, you know.
It's crazy that was. I would literally every night be watching it with my brothers. Every night, without fail, I would be watching Dream SMP, which is nuts to think of now, you know, but that's how it was. That's exactly what Dream SMP did to so many people. And I really think it's arguably one of the biggest reasons Minecraft is even like, well, it's revival. Like it started to revive, but I think that was a huge thing back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean, because obviously, like you said, Minecraft died for a while, and that is essentially what brought it back to its glory. And I mean, it's gone down since. Obviously, the world's getting back to normal. People are still kind of capitalizing not even capitalizing, just making use out of being out of the house because of COVID being so long. Because, like, this is one of the things I said, and I always stand by it. I don't leave the house much, but I didn't like COVID because it meant when I wanted to leave the house, I couldn't, you know? And now people in that scenario now where, like, they might not be too fond of, they might not want to always leave the house, but now they can when they want to, you know? Like, tomorrow, if I wanted to, I've got work, but if I didn't, I could like stay at home and edit the podcast, or I could go for a walk for 2 hours. But during COVID, you couldn't do that. You were stuck, at least in England, we were told to stay at home all the time. People didn't really listen to it per se, and I couldn't because we had to walk my dog. But, you know.
Yeah, well, I think that, you know, you were given an hour period to exercise, weren't you?
Yeah,
which is mental.
Most people didn't do that, but like that's like thing. Like now you have the option, so a lot more people are going outside. But where COVID, like it just changed everything.
Well, yeah.
But then,
yeah,
I'm not sure if this stems from Dream SMP, but early 2021, Lifesteal SMP begins. It is, according to Google, once again, it is known as one of the more deadlier, or as the deadliest Minecraft SMP.
The deadliest.
And essentially, for anyone who doesn't know what it is, if you kill somebody, get a heart, and if you die, you lose a heart. So once, obviously, if you die 10 times and you haven't gained any hearts, you're essentially eliminated. I assume you're essentially eliminated. It's made up of 25 YouTubers. It's a lot more of a... There's like roleplay and stuff like that. I like to say in quotation marks sweatier than Dream SMP. Dream SMP seems like just fun, chill, goofy time, you know, whereas like Lifesteal SMP seems like serious, try hard. I mean, it has Prince Zam, it has Parrot. I don't really know everyone who's in Lifesteal SMP. I'm a bit sorry. I just know it has like a lot of bigger creators.
I think Dream SMP definitely had some semblance of sweat, mostly from Technoblade, but Lifesteal takes it to another level. You know, everyone's just really wanting to be the very best. Well, to protect themselves, and really, you know, you can't walk around in iron armor in Lifesteal. You'll get your life stolen.
Exactly, and that happens
so
sometimes. You're screwed.
I think it's a lot. It's a different form of like SMP content, whereas, you know, a lot of Dream SMP is focused on lore and so on. This, you know, Lifesteal is focused on you have to be the best, you have to survive, and that brings a whole different SMP world, really, which is crazy to think about. Like, so it's such a huge difference.
And the thing about Lifesteal as well is it's still around. Like, I think, I don't know if it's happened once or twice. I know it's definitely happened once. Like, Prince Zam has dropped out of Block Wars and done Lifesteal lore. Like, I saw, like, Prince Zam get subbed out of Block Wars the day before Block Wars. I'm like, oh. And then goes live at the exact same time Block Wars is happening, but doing lore on Lifesteal SMP. So, like...
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how many times. I think it's happened. No, I think it's happened twice at the point. I'm not subbing out Wise, but he's done lore while Block Wars is going on. But, like, you know, Lifesteal SMP lore is still kicking. It's still going. The SMP is still going. It doesn't look like it's ending anytime soon. Whereas Dream SMP, like, the thing about Dream SMP is it's slowly faded. The Mr. Beast event, I think the Mr. Beast event was essentially like an attempt at a revival because it was dying. The Mr. Beast event happens. Who won it again? Was it Tubbo?
I think so, yes.
I think Tubbo won it, yeah. Tubbo wins the Mr. Beast event, gets all these codes and everything, right? Bang, 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 goes up, and then people start playing a little bit, and then they're like, but it's only for so long you can play SMP for, especially because these creators, as much as they are amazing, they're survival players and stuff, is people only want to do lore for so long, and that's where like Lifesteal SMP is interesting because they're still doing lore, but as far as I'm aware, not every creator is involved in it too much anymore. And like, because you can only do it for so long, and it's also always a worry with like SMPs that are happening right now, which we'll get into in a second as well. NPCs medieval, like there's always that concern of when you join an SMP, how long will it last? Like, because I could join Lifesteal, I could get invited to Lifesteal SMP tomorrow, I could join it, then it could just end next week, and I've been in it for a week, you know?
Yes, yeah. I think SMPs as a whole is there's so much about, oh, this is just gonna die off, and you know, you can change it and have seasons, which always works quite well for a few SMPs, you know. Hermitcraft is a big one that has seasons where they'll just restart and it'll be a whole new world, and they'll build more incredible structures and do more incredible redstone and so on. And that's one way of keeping it alive, but, you know, eventually people do tend to fall off of SMPs and so on. But, you know, you gotta have some reason to keep coming back. I think that's a huge thing for me.
Because what's that big one that Green's in? Is it Evolution, or am I thinking of the else?
No, that's Hermit.
That's Hermitcraft. Wait, that's not an SMP though, is it? Or is it?
Yeah, it's sort of an SMP.
Yeah, I don't know why
It
they
is
do
an
it so
SMP,
much.
I'd say.
Yeah, see, that's been around forever, and that's never.
Yeah,
gonna
so
die.
they
That's the
do
thing. I don't know how they
seasons.
do that.
Yeah.
Oh, is that why?
So they do seasons and introduce new people and so on, and that's huge reasons why that's gone for so long.
Man, remember How to Minecraft? Oh my god, that it completely left my memory until now. How to Minecraft.
Yes.
I feel
Oh
like
my god.
I feel like How to Minecraft essentially started the SMP game. Dream SMP obviously made it big, but like because How to Minecraft was seasons, no one ever really saw it as an SMP. Even in this whole conversation, I didn't think of it as an SMP. But if you really look back on it, it was an SMP. They built these massive houses. I remember Kickstart having a pet baby zombie. He'd get the same baby zombie pet every single season. I completely forgot.
It's like ducks.
Yeah, bro. That kickstarted. That definitely kickstarted the SMP game. I reckon How to Minecraft was the beginning of it all.
Well, yeah, there's been so many SMPs for like I remember.
We just don't know about that. That's the issue. No one knows about How to Minecraft. No one knows about how good How to. But looking back on it, it's not as entertaining as it used to be. But watching it in the moment, people don't realize how good, because it was videos as well. It was mainly videos more than streams.
Yeah. Yes. Hugely.
Sorry, what were you saying, by the way? I didn't mean to cut you off there.
I was going to say I remember Scott and Lizzie and Smallish Beans and so on. They all met because of SMPs, basically. So it's a huge part of the Minecraft lore. It basically went maps, basically Minecraft maps, and then SMPs. And for so long there was so many SMPs, and then Dream SMP sort of. Then we got tournaments as well with Minecraft Monday's introduction.
MCC started in November 2019, I believe.
Well, yeah, but there was
Minecraft Mondays beforehand. I'm just saying
Minecraft Mondays beforehand. Yeah, MCC as well. Yeah, definitely. It's just a huge part of everything, basically.
Just crazy to see how everything stems into it. Because like I said, today's generation who watches MCC and stuff, for the most part, most of them won't know about Minecraft Mondays. They won't know about How to Minecraft. They won't know about everything. Even the UHCs. Remember the UHCs with Kickstart, Wolfalls, Preston, Lachlan. People don't remember that kind of stuff. I remember sitting down because they used to upload the UHCs every 2 days. There'd be 30-minute record. No, it'd be 20-minute recordings every 2 days, and the video would just cut off exactly at 20 minutes without an outro, and then they'd record the intro in the moment, upload it the next week. Everyone would upload at the same time, and I'd save it all every single Saturday. I'd sit down with my egg sandwich, and my mum and dad would make me an egg sandwich at breakfast. I'd sit down with my egg sandwich, and I'd binge watch for an hour all the UHCs I missed that week, and then it'd always get ruined because Kickstar's fourth UHC would be titled something along the lines of one final battle, and you're okay, well, you're dying this week. We know you've died this week. But then you'd watch his POV, and then you'd go back and watch the people who killed him, and see how they got to that point. And sometimes I remember sitting on my Xbox with my TV, and I'd watch back. I'd see Wolfalls kill Kickstart, and then I'd go and watch Wolfalls one to see how he got to that point, and then I'd carry on watching Wolfalls because he killed Kickstart to see if he wins, and then whoever kills him, and it's I know we're kind of staring away a little bit from SMPs here, but people don't ever really realize what the origin, the original one.
No. Well, yeah, Minecraft's been around for ages, hasn't it? But we've got a whole new generation now of people that got into Minecraft because of the Dream SMP, which is mental. It's mental to think about.
Whereas back in our day, it was things like How to Minecraft. Remember Sky does Minecraft's prison role plays and stuff like that, 9 years ago. The intro, I remember the intro and everything. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was huge for me. Yeah. Exactly. As growing up, that was how I got into Minecraft as well. So
man, we need to make a midweek MC looking at the past of Minecraft. That's a good topic that we never thought of.
Yeah, that's a really good topic.
That's definitely a future.
So much, yeah.
I guess then I know we didn't spend too much time on Lifesteal, but we're kind of just talking about general SMPs, and then we're going to get into topics regarding SMPs in general. We move on to today's SMPs, which one I forgot to write down, and it's funny enough one I really want to be in, so I don't know why. So obviously there's, on the Above Darling podcast we talked about Witchcraft SMP, which isn't one I was referring to. That was also another SMP. That's what Scott, Eloise and stuff were in. But the big ones today now, well obviously like I said, Lifesteal. The biggest one around being QSMP. For anyone who might not know, it is I saw someone on Twitter the other day, because they didn't want to say Quackity, referred to him as the duck that doesn't quack. Because they were like speaking negatively of him, so they didn't want to like say his name. Duck that doesn't quack.
Yes.
So yeah, there's the SMP on the Duck That Doesn't Quack, which is an SMP for creators all over the world. It has an inbuilt translator. When it came out, caused a bit of controversy between Quackity and Dream. Which, firstly, I don't think it's ever been resolved, but secondly, I think it was just pointless, petty drama. It was a case of Quackity announced it, Dream was like, oh my god, I was going to do that, but then never actually did it, so I never really understand it. Observations, not opinions, by the way, just want to make that very clear, that's what I saw. But, so yeah, there's QSMP, which is really, really hyped, the biggest one right now. There's Medieval's Adventures SMP. I mean, there's loads of other small ones, but regarding us, there's Medieval's Adventures SMP, which you're in. That is an SMP made by not Justin, the owner of Minecraft Mania, as far as I'm aware.
Yes.
There's NPCs SMP, which I've been playing like quite a bit, by the way. My house, I don't know how it will be in a week. Who knows? Maybe in a week's time, NPCs SMP would have died. Maybe. That's one.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Yeah, but that's one of my concerns, because obviously most of these people, I'm actually quite surprised to see people playing on it, but most of these people aren't really survival players, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. That's a huge bit. They're not survival. I haven't yet to play on it because I want to stream on it, and I haven't had time yet. But I'm really excited. I really want to do like so much on that SMP.
My house is so pretty. It's such a pretty. It's like I found like so basically there's these like water things. I won't leak too much of it, but there's just these water things, right? and my inventory got full because I was just like doing a lot of stuff. And so I found like a little cave in a cliff, and I like used it as loot storage. And then I was like, screw it, I can just make this into a base. And then on the top of the mountain, there was cherry blossoms. There was a cherry blossom biome, sorry. So my entire base is just a cherry blossom house, and it looks so nice. It looks so good. Who knows? It would have probably changed in a week's time because I've been looking to get new woods, and I'm starting to explore the Nether and stuff. I have a Netherite ingot and everything now already.
Very fancy.
But yeah, so there's NPCs SMP, which is essentially a group of content creators, which myself and AJX are in. It's more of like a content creator Discord with majority content creator quotation mark friends. I say quotation mark friends because I never really like just assuming everyone's friends. But we're all content creators, and it was announced on Nebula Minecraft's Twitter account. It's just an SMP for the Discord, pretty much. It's not really a group, but it's not a group. I think it's a bit like House Builder Gang, where that's a group, but it's just a bunch of speedrunners in a Discord, or just a bunch of creators in a smaller private Discord.
Yeah, I think it's not like I'd say it's like the Dream SMP. It's a bit like the Dream SMP in a way that it's a lot of creators from different parts of the internet. It's not just this like the original Dream SMP was the Dream Team, whereas it then expanded. So it's a bit like that. And I'm friends with everyone. I'll say but
I'm just a bit funny. I just don't like friends with me kind of thing.
Well, like I haven't talked to every single person on there either, so I can't say I'm friends with everyone. But like, you get me. I'm so excited for it, and I think we're gonna try and just make it as good as possible, which will be a nice thing, which we'll get to later on in terms of how you keep SMPs going and so on, and how you to kickstart one,
which will be part of the general topics.
Yeah, definitely. But I think we got a cool bunch of mods. I think it'll be a lot of fun. A lot of different things will happen because we're all different streamers and can cross over. I'm super excited for the NPCs SMP. I say I'm super excited because I haven't been on it, but you've been on it and have experienced it all.
The only time I was gonna do everything on stream, but I'm a bit raw. I've been playing it a lot off stream.
That's what's going to be me as well.
But yeah, I haven't logged onto it today, which I probably will. But I played it every single day since it got opened. since Saturday, I've been playing it.
Wow.
And then the final one, which is a roleplay one specifically, and I really want to be in, and I forgot to mention this in the thing. Pirates SMP.
Pirates SMP. Of course. Pirates SMP is awesome. And obviously comes from Rats SMP before it as well.
Yeah, it was announced at TwitchCon, Pirates SMP.
Yes. They just put in so much effort into making these incredible SMPs that are just so well themed and so well done. And then they get in wonderful people to be in it as well. I think they do a phenomenal job just making the best SMPs possible, don't they? It's crazy. It's crazy how well everything's done on those SMPs.
I think the thing about Pirates SMP as well and why it does so well is because like you said, I don't actually know what Rats SMP was. I just know there was a Rats SMP panel at TwitchCon, and I know Nukri, Jackcast, they all went to it. I didn't go to it because I didn't know it was. But like I know Pirates SMP is really good. It has creators like Akko, Caliph, Gracie, Smajan, Littlewood, like all of these creators, and it's like I said, it's a very good SMP. But that's why this one kind of says, because who's it made by again? Oh crap! It's made by do you know?
It's an actual company. Well, one is
There's one
Owen's Juice.
No, it's like the company I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it's Owen's Juice's company, which is I'm trying to think what the actual name is for Pirates SMP.
POWcreations.
Yes,
There we
you
go. Owned by Orange Juice and Apokuna. I can't pronounce that wrong. But yeah, so like that's why these kind of SMPs do well, because it's not like Dream SMP. It's a complete spin on it. It's a complete spin on the idea of SMPs because they do a different SMP. I don't know. Like once again, I don't know what Rats was. Pirates is complete roleplay, and once this like eventually dies off, they'll do a new one.
Rats
new
was
SMP.
complete roleplay as well. It was.
No,
it
I mean,
was
I don't know what it was about.
Rats.
Sorry, I was literally them being Rats.
They were Rats, yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like they went from like it's different SMPs. It's the same creators, but they're doing different things. But it's not like do you know how, once again, no offense to the smaller SMPs, but how multiple creators join multiple different SMPs. It's not like that. This is one SMP made by one company, but it changes the idea of the SMP every night. Because how long was Rats SMP around? Do you know?
About 3-4 months, I'd say.
Only that? Oh god.
And well, the amount of effort they put into stuff for Rats SMP and for Pirates is amazing. Like Rats SMP, they were the size of rats, and they were living in this home, and they had actual like humans and a cat that chased after them.
That's
like
so cool.
Huge scale humans. It was so good.
That's what I mean. It's a complete spin on things, and that's what makes it so cool, because it's an SMP, but it's something completely different that people haven't thought of before. You know.
My favourite thing about Rats SMP is they'd have guests, but the guests wouldn't be rats. They'd be like different creatures. So you'd have like a pigeon stopping for like 1 week. There'd be a pigeon or something of similar lines, and they'd get like artwork done up of the person as that. And yeah, that was super cool for me. I really think Rats SMP just went above and beyond. Honestly, they really put so much effort into making Rats SMP an event. And it was so cool. It was so cool.
And they're the type of SMPs that flourish and do well, something like that, you know.
Yeah, you've got to put effort in. You got, are we going to go into the topics?
Yeah, so I like that. I've mentioned a few SMPs that we haven't talked about, for instance, QSMP. Just based on how lengthy the podcast is starting to get, and we were like, and this is the perfect. I've kind of just ruined the perfect transition into topics. Sorry, I just want to explain why we're brushing over QSMP. It's because we can talk about it, but Dream SMP was like the big topic because it was the start of everything. QSMP is obviously a big topic, but I mentioned what it is. I mentioned what it does. We don't really need to go into too much depth into it. There's not really a need to. The only reason we did with Paris SMP is because it's a different idea. The only reason we did with Dream SMP is because it was the beginning of everything. And the only reason we did with NPCs SMP is because it's the SMP we're both in. You can talk a bit about medieval adventures, but it's just another SMP you're in kind of thing. So
yes. But it's very. I think it would be very cool as well. And there's a lot of effort put into that, as well as QSMP. I think if you put effort in, you try and create storylines. You try and create reasons for people to come back. I think that's what we're going to come to in the topic section. You want people to come back to watch these SMPs, or to even just be in these SMPs each week. You want someone to come. You want people to be able to come back and enjoy what they're doing on the servers. And I think that's a huge part of how SMPs work. I think in terms of Dream SMP, you obviously had so much lore there. SMP, you have the eggs and all the lore that goes on with the eggs and all the like different deaths of the eggs as well, which everyone's so obsessed with. Pirates SMP, you have the incredible story and all the effort they put into it. And with Medieval SMP, NPCs SMP as well, it's a group of friends coming together, and people enjoy watching people interacting.
And that being now, you've revived it, the perfect transition into talking about general topics about SMPs. So this was your topic idea, so I'll let you kind of take charge on this one, as you know more about it than I do. So how do you keep an SMP alive?
So keeping an SMP alive, the main thing you want to do is you want to make it so that people want to come back, whether it's to watch or to play in. You always want someone coming back. You can set up a server and have a bunch of people join and like start playing and so on, but people will either want to like just build a house and that's it, or they'll want to just basically deck themselves out in netherite armor, and then they'll just never play again because there's no reason to come back each week to keep playing. So what you got to do basically is have that reason. Whether it's in certain servers, they'll make it so it's lore. In certain servers, they'll try and add mods, but sometimes mods don't actually continue on servers. That it will still end up, eventually fizzling out because people get everything they want. So the main thing you always want with a SMP is a reason to come back. That is huge in how SMPs are designed and what they need to do for success, basically. The QSMP, people always want to check up on the progress of the eggs. These are basically babies. They're role-playing having children, basically. So people are obsessed with watching how those children grow and learn and if they die or not.
And the creators are obsessed with looking after the children because it gives them something to do.
Exactly. Also, they're interacting with someone every single time because that child's there every time. It's not like, for example, if I logged onto NPCs right now, it might just be me. It might be 10 people, but it might also just be me.
Right now,
and the fact they had those eggs, the fact they had those eggs is massive for just constantly interacting, and then different interactions with different eggs and so on. So honestly, genius idea from Quackity. He really is. He's a lot of the backbone at the back half of the Dream SMP as well, for reasons people wanted to come back and keep watching because his lore was so incredible. And I love the idea that you always have to come up with something to have people coming back. You can overdo something. For example, lore is quite often now overdone, and you have to make sure it's a certain type of lore. The genius with the Dream SMP is the fact it was slow and the lore was not
I think
forced.
it's also just had big creators as well. I think that's what I think. In my opinion, which is probably could be very wrong, I think Dream SMP flourished only because it had big creators. I think the lore was good and everything, but if you look at now Quackity SMP, if you look at POWcreations, they don't. I mean, QSMP kind of does, but POWcreations, they don't have massive creators in that SMP, but it's flourishing. Why? Because of the lore. I think Dream SMP was very much carried on the creators.
I would disagree, primarily because, they weren't huge creators all back then. But it's because they would perish in comparison to QSMP and, POWcreations and so on. But because back then, nothing had been done like that at the time. Like, nothing on that scale had been done. So it was all new. And the first season of the lore is up there, really, really well done. And the fact they slowly went into it and it was enforced and the lore was very natural, like it wasn't ever like, oh, we're going to do that. They basically wrote down stuff that would happen, as in at the end of it, we'll be in this area, we'll be trying to do this. But throughout the entirety, it'd be this happens, and then Saplap kills a pet, and that means that this battle's going to happen before this battle happens. So it was very much.
Yeah, that's fair. Actually,
it flowed very well, and I think honestly, Wilbur helped massively because the lore was really good with L'Manburg and the betrayal and the eventual blowing up, but. I think you've got to have that reason to keep coming back, and I think hopefully these servers that we're part of now will have the same, where it's not just we're going to start interacting with other creators, and that's going to be huge, and hopefully we'll add to it. And it doesn't just have to be lore. You can have different, as for example we talked about already, lifesteal is because you're like, oh, who's going to lose their life this week? Who's going to try and betray each other? And the battles. People love to see Minecraft fights. So Lifesteal works in that way. So you've got many ways of doing it. But keeping people coming back is so huge. That's got to be the primary target if you ever start an SMP, is what is the reason people are going to keep coming back? Is there just are they going to get too powerful too quickly?
And I think Dream SMP, we go back to it. You know, the fact they banned the end was massive, and basically is a rule now on all SMPs.
No entrance, no. What's them boxes called again? I always forget the name. I can't remember the bloody name of the boxes.
Oh, you mean the like farms?
No, the boxes that give you extra like inventory space.
Oh yeah, shulkers.
Shulker boxes, that's the one. Yeah, so like, you know, if you don't go to the end, you can't get elytras, you can't get shulker boxes. The shulker boxes are quite OP, especially for like if you like, you know, they just are OP. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a huge thing, and you got to basically make it so that people want to keep coming back, keep playing on the server, keep watching the server.
And then, you know, I would like, yeah, pretty much kind of just parroting what you said here. It's like you said, with Lifesteal, it's intense. With Dream SMP, they had the lore aspects. With Quackity, it's the eggs, but like POWcreations. So like, what's the medieval adventures SMP then? What is that about?
So medieval's SMP, basically, we have been split. We all have a single role, so it's kind of like Origins, where you like get a power up based on a mob, but instead this is based on like a certain thing from a medieval time. So we have like we have a swords person, which is Mighty Brothers 1. I'm a Beastmaster, so my role is that I'm really good with animals and I get certain buffs into my animals and so on. But we split off into groups of 3 people per group, and you basically take on this incredible world with so many mods, that is completely out of the realm of Minecraft. And the thing that you will look into, the reason you want to come back, is we're going to take on different like dungeons and so on, very D&D like, and basically try to be the best group basically and build your empire up.
There's a Bedrock SMP that has ended. It was a very, very small one. I think the most viewers someone averaged was probably about 10. I think it was called Andosa SMP. I think I got the right name, Andosa SMP. And basically the essential idea of it was these creators who wanted, they all had different abilities. So like one, I think it was GG the Puppy, could like do something with wolves. Someone else could do something like building and stuff like that. Like, it was called different power-ups, and I actually found the SMP quite interesting. I lurked in a lot of the streams because it was every single Sunday. They streamed every single Sunday, the SMP. I think it lasted about 2 months. It wasn't a big thing. It wasn't planned to be a big thing either. But just the different ideas of abilities and stuff was quite cool and entertaining to me.
That's similar to an SMP I just died in, actually, which was done by Rice in Real Time. It had people like Nomad and Chaos in and so on. Basically, it was Origins SMP, so for that you have different powers based on mobs, but it's a form of Origins SMP. We also had the one life system, where if you die, you lose a life, and eventually if you get down to 0 lives, you die. But you could also trade lives, and there was a bunch of lore based on that. It was a very fun SMP. I had a empire called the Enderman Empire because I was an Enderling origin, and yeah, that was a huge fun. And it was only for like, I died about a month and a half into the server, so it was very similar idea.
Because X Life has also made a return.
Yes, I saw.
That's the life system as well.
Yeah. Well, again, that's another reason people like these servers, like X Life. You have different life systems where it makes it interesting, and you're like, oh, is this person going to die? For example, is AJX going to die? And yes, it happened. He took down 2 of his teammates with him.
Let's go.
So, you know, SMPs always have to be interesting, and I think that's the massive thing for me. If your SMP is interesting, people are going to want to watch it. People are going to want to keep playing on it. You've got to always have a reason to come back. It's very marketing based, I think. I'm definitely talking like in marketing.
Who are the 2 people you sit down with you?
So Snakes on Snakes, who's a speedrunner, and Mighty Brothers 1, we all had a pact where if one of us, we'd gone all down to 1 life each, and we were taking people as many lives as possible, no matter what. So we took down 3 other people's lives to 2. Everyone had 2 lives left. We killed Nomad. I can't remember the other 2.
Oh, that's just
Max.
Toxic.
And,
wow.
Yeah, it was part. You can say it was toxic, but it was very lore based as well. Yeah. No, we knew we'd die because everyone else on the server had a lot better powers than us. Especially Mighty. Mighty was really screwed with his power.
What was his power?
So he was an axolotl origin. So he always had to stay hydrated. I don't really know what buff his power had, but like a minor thing was if he had a totem system, so it'd give him like more hearts when he reached 0, but it'd only give him 1 heart. So he'd basically be hit to 0 and then he'd have to run away. So he was hating every moment of that because Mighty is a very big sweat, especially in PvP.
That's what he gets.
It was good. Well, yeah, he was the last one to die, ironically, because the Inchling mod, which makes you tiny and basically impossible to hit, was basically our arch nemesis. So we got destroyed by them, unfortunately.
Because that's because when you said about the marketing thing as well, that's like your area of expertise, isn't it?
Yes. So yeah, basically you got to market it well, and well, it's not even marketing it well. As I say, having people come back, having word of mouth is just massive. Marketing it can be videos, different videos on it, can be the people you've got on it who stream it. The actual SMP, that's not down to them. The marketing isn't down to them because the marketing is done by the Twitch streamers because they want people to watch their videos too. The SMP is got to be interesting enough for people to want to come back. There you go, English.
I guess that's like to an extent what I'm doing with the podcast as well, really, because I was doing interviewing guests every single Monday. The essential idea of the podcast was like guests and just general topics. That was what it was a year ago when I started it, and this was when I was doing Bedrock content. But then it turned into especially Return, I think I did 20 episodes on the trot of just interviewing guests, and I was like, I'm really enjoying this, but like it's becoming very catered to only people who want to listen to that specific guest. So how do I improve this? Bang, midweek MC, and now look, we're talking about general topic of SMP, so now this will cater to SMP people. Tournaments in the future, we'll talk about all this other stuff, blah blah blah. It will essentially all cater to different people going forward, kind of thing.
Exactly. So, and people want to, why are people going to want to come back? You and I talking about different stuff.
And if we're not just waffling, which I know we're waffling, but we're not waffling meaninglessly. Like what we're saying actually makes sense, is actually good. We're having a good conversation. People are going to want to listen to our conversation.
It's sound advice as well. I'm telling everyone like proper marketing information because so many people want to start SMPs or be a part of SMPs this day because of nowadays because of the Dream SMP. So if you want to start an SMP, your main thing has to be, why are people going to want to come back? What makes us different to other SMPs?
And the thing is, especially with the new, my new promoting system where I do the Twitter post saying everything that happened in the podcast, the new one. Whereas before it would have just been the title, but now I've done that. It's like people are going to see as one of the topics, how to kickstart an SMP. They're going to now watch the podcast. So it's all different changes. You need to I know I'm kind of bigging myself up here, but a really good thing to look at would be how I've changed things with the podcast, to do topic ideas, to do new ideas, how I promote the podcast, how I do everything. It's a good thing to base it on, even if it's for something different other than a podcast. It's good to look at, kind of thing,
Yes, definitely.
With that being said, then. Oh, sorry, yeah? Did you have something else to say?
I was going to say good case study.
Yes. But we've talked about how to keep an SMP alive. How do you kickstart one?
So, I mentioned a tiny bit before. The main thing about looking at an SMP and starting one is what am I bringing to the table for an SMP? What is different about my SMP than any others? Now, I'll go through a few examples. Dream SMP is the type of creators on it. And to be honest, they didn't start an SMP looking to be big or looking to have it as an SMP even. They started it as like a fun little hangout for that group of friends, the dream team, and then eventually Tommy comes in and starts making it a big event. But for NPCs SMP is about the group of people on there and how we're going to interact. You've got huge people that are so cool, like Sandwich Lord, Insane Orbits, Phaser A. How are these people all going to interact with each other? Jackass, all these groups of people, and what are they going to do? You've got the whole lucky block system as well, which makes us a bit different, and some of the other terrain sort of deals.
all these SMPs have looked at it and gone, okay, we're making ours different through this reason. Lifesteal, it's got a very simple system, but a very effective one. QSMP, you had the eggs. The eggs are a huge call and a huge different part, and the fact it's multilingual, which is huge. I didn't expect to watch people from Spain playing with people who speak Spanish speaking with people that speak English. So yeah, exactly. All these different reasons are reasons to kickstart an SMP. You've got to make it different. And as I said before, you've got to bring people back in. But for kickstarting one, it can just be a group of friends. That's technically what the NPCs have done. As long as your group of friends actually make interesting content, bounce off each other well, and people are going to enjoy watching you all together, it's that simple.
It just really depends. Because, right now, NPCs SMP, a lot of people who put IGNs on, like you said, you haven't logged on. A lot of them aren't really playing it too much. So I don't know how long it'll last. But, I'm enjoying it. It gives me something different. Like I said this before, I started up a hardcore world. I played that hardcore world for about 500 in-game days, and I didn't build a base. First thing I've done on NPCs SMP, I've built a house. I've done something different, I
think we're experiencing slight lag issues on the NPC SMP, which is probably not helping the amount of people on it. But I still think it's got legs to go somewhere. And as I say, it's the kickstarting is the fact that we all have all these different creators that are interesting and people enjoy. I've got a group of people from the MCC community that love me, and same with Sandwich and so on. And you've got like a huge following of people from Bedrock and so on.
Yeah, not really anymore. I've kind of fallen off a little bit. I'm a bit raw.
No, the podcast is what I'm falling off.
Yeah,
I'm in the process of falling off as well.
No, the podcast will save you, don't worry.
But you see my point.
I
about like different communities are coming in together. You got Gomel's 100 days.
As a constant meme.
Well, as a constant, memes can come up. But he's the people that watch him are going to be different than the people that watch me. And there'll be some crossover, but bringing all together these communities is a really cool thing to do.
Yeah, there you go. I don't really have too much to say on this one because I'm honestly not really too sure. But there we go. If you ever want to kickstart an SMP, there's some rough ideas for you, and if you want to keep it alive, there's also some rough ideas for you. So, so one of the topics were going to be why SMP content does so well. Probably not going to touch on that anymore, just because of podcast. We've been recording now for an hour and 5 minutes. These are meant to be shorter podcasts, by the way, AJX. So we're probably going to not talk about that anymore because there's not really too much to say on it, anyways.
We touched on it.
Exactly.
We touched on
it. Because the SMP content was going to be based on videos, but then there's so many different SMP videos that we touched on streaming, which is good enough. And another one was going to be, will SMPs ever end? In all honesty, I think a short answer is just no. There's always going to be a Minecraft SMP. It was a bit of it was my topic idea, and looking back on it, it was a bit of a silly one because they're just not going to end, are they?
I quite like the simple answer of no. That's a really good answer to the question because
there's no point to dig into.
It all depends on Minecraft as well. Everything's always changing. Different mods make Minecraft bigger. Back in the day, there was Pixelmon even.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. The Pixelmon SMPs were big back in the day. Imagine that nowadays, and stuff will be added to the game. The reason that a part of Minecraft's revival was the whole big Nether update, and then eventually the Caves and Cliffs update as well. That made people want to play the game a lot more because it was such a huge update compared to when they were playing as a kid.
I guess a tiny bit. Oh yeah. Go on.
Minecraft will always come back, basically.
I guess a tiny bit of a longer answer, but still a short answer. The SMPs will die. The idea of SMPs will never die.
Yeah.
There you go. SMPs will end, but the idea of SMPs will never end. There we go. That's better.
Yes, I like that.
And the final one, which I actually do want to make a topic before we wrap up the podcast today, AJX, is
yes.
Are SMPs oversaturated? So I'm not sure if we have different answers here, because mine is yes. My answer is yes.
Yes, I would agree. You know what? I agree.
Jeez, okay, I thought he was gonna be against me there. Oh, okay.
Well, there's some parts of me disagree.
Some parts of me disagree as well, though. To be fair.
I think a lot of the reason people make SMPs, it depends the reason you're making it. If you're making it to hang out with your friends, even if it is live on a stream or whatever, or you eventually want to make a video out of it, if the primary reason is you just want to hang out with friends, that's fine. Like, there can be a bunch of SMPs, but a lot of SMPs this day are very similar. You know, we have a lot of people trying to do what Dream did in the past. They'll maybe put on what the Dream SMP did, not Dream, but the Dream SMP did in the past. A lot of these, they they'll just do lore. They're just trying to get content basically out of it, and that means that it's basically becoming an oversaturated thing to do. It's the thing to do. If you're not in a tournament, for something to just do through a day, SMPs works, and that's why there's so many SMP servers.
Yes, my answer to that, some of it overlaps with yours, but we're giving our answer. Yes, my one depends on the SMP, because like something like POWcreations, Rats SMP, Pirates SMP, like they're both under POWcreations, sort of way, by the way, just in case that wasn't clear. That kind of SMP isn't oversaturated because it's something different, it's something new. Lifesteal SMP, because it was the original SMP and because it was their original idea, that's not oversaturated. Dream SMP, original idea, not oversaturated. QSMP, original idea, not oversaturated. Hermitcraft, original idea, not oversaturated. I think what becomes oversaturated is, and I'm not linking Medieval Adventures SMP into this, by the way, to be clear, or NPCs SMP, because it's kind of just SMPs made for like a bunch of friends to hang out. But there's a lot of, like you said, SMPs made to be like, there's a lot of SMPs that are a tiny bit of a different idea, but are so similar to Lifesteal SMP. The idea is still there. I think it depends. I think the original, like Witchcraft SMP was only, I think Bertha said it was only meant to be around for 7 months, which it was, or 7 weeks, or something along those lines. That wasn't oversaturated. The ones with seasons and stuff like that, not oversaturated. I think it's just like, there's a lot of SMPs that I see on Twitter that have, and no offense to any of them, because they're all trying their best, and I completely respect it. Same way I'm trying my best with the podcast. But they're all so similar to each other. There's like, they all have the same players, but just in quotation marks, smaller creators. They all have the same creators. They all have the same idea. They all have the same concept. The designs they all kind of flow into each other. You know, whereas like tournaments, MCC, Block Wars, Pandora's Box, Mayhem, Mania, like they're all different. Block Wars Origins, they're all different tournaments. There's easy to distinguish between them. But I feel a lot of these smaller SMPs that they don't, and I sound so rude, I don't mean it to be, they don't stand out anymore. And that's what I feel like makes it oversaturated, kind of thing. Too many people are just making it. That's it. Too many people are making SMPs for the sake of making SMPs.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's no attempt to keep it alive. There's no attempt to keep it going. They are just making an SMP because they can turn around and be like, "I've made an SMP. Here we go."
And just go. You know, it's for clout reasons. It's great to be like, "Who wants to join my SMP? Send in your applications. You have to be following me and stuff like that." Right? That doesn't work.
and it's like. I find this a lot with smaller creators, in quotation marks. And once again, it's a general assumption, and it doesn't apply to everybody. It applies to a very, very small minority. And it doesn't apply to even, and maybe doesn't even apply to any of the SMPs. It's just once again, a base-like thing. A lot of creators or smaller creators do stuff to make them have that adrenaline rush of clout. For instance, with the podcast, I'm very much thingy with, I get larger creators on and I get smaller creators on. I mix the both because I just want people and I want to talk to. But a lot of smaller creators will make an SMP or make an announcement or whatever to get the adrenaline rush of everybody replying, everybody liking, everybody retweeting. They made the SMP dies after a week. But they got the adrenaline rush of everybody replying, everybody wanted to interact with them, everybody wanted to join. Once again, it's a big, and I'm not saying any SMP has done this, I'm purely using it as an example, but that is essentially like narrowing it down kind of thing, you know?
Yeah,
I feel like that's reasonable to say, right?
Yeah, I do. I agree with you. I get your point.
Sorry, I know I kept cutting you off a little bit there. My bad. It's just
no problem. I think that was a good. I think it was a good point to make.
So, any more takes on SMPs being oversaturated, or have I kind of covered everything?
I would say as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, even if you just want to make friends, right? That's you set up a SMP and you put out applications and you want to make friends. Putting out applications for SMPs isn't a bad thing, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons. It's always got to be the right reasons. Getting the best content creators that you can is a good reason. But if you're just like putting out applications and then you won't actually do anything with the SMP, that's not the right reason.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think, like, that's why, you know, it kind of, and this is going to be a future midweek MC topic because I want to make it one. It's going to be about podcasts and stuff like that, Minecraft podcasts. But like, that's what I'm doing with the Inside MC. Like, I pride myself so much in this podcast, and I know it's because it's mine, but I genuinely look at this podcast and I pride it in so much because I am recording every Monday. I'm recording every Wednesday. I'm uploading every Wednesday. I'm uploading every Friday. I'm uploading highlights sometimes on Sundays, every Tuesday, Thursday. I'm constantly making an announcement for a guest every Friday. If somebody drops out last minute, I'm literally on the ball to get a guest replacement the same day and make that announcement that same Friday if I can, if I'm not at work. Like, I'm putting so much effort in, and there's a lot of people who like are making podcasts, and I've seen like a few people make podcasts like back in my old community when I originally made Inside MC. When I made Inside MC, two or three Bedrock podcasts stemmed. They both died after 3 weeks. I continued doing it. The only reason Inside MC stopped, or Inside Minecraft at the time stopped, was because I started working nights, and then it came back as soon as I started working days again. Because I put in the work, I put in the effort, and I stand out. Like I like some of the guests, and you know the guests. Some of the guests planned for October are crazy. But then in that thing, there's still a smaller creator. November's going to be followed by smaller creators. October's a big month in quotation marks, numbers wise. But that's not the reason I do the podcast. I don't do the podcast to have these bigger creators on. I'm having these bigger creators on because I want to talk to them, because they're interesting, because they're cool. But then November will have a bunch of smaller creators. Most, I don't know, things and subjects always change. November could have smaller creators. Same way October could be filled with smaller creators if the creators can't make anymore because of TwitchCon, because of all this other stuff, you know? And that's what I'm saying. I don't just do it for the adrenaline rush. I do the podcast because I love the podcast. I love talking to a different person every single week. I like talking to you every single Wednesday about a different topic because you're somebody interesting to talk to and we can have a general conversation. I know if we disagreed on a topic today, or if we made a podcast and we disagreed on a topic, it wouldn't be an argument, it'd be a conversation, and we'd end the podcast and we'd be like, that was a good podcast. Whereas a lot of people just do it. Like, a lot of people, I've seen it before, like, make a podcast and then they get a co-host on. They'd get, like, we're not co-hosts, but they'd get someone on who they don't want on. I've seen it before where someone will collab with someone or do something and they don't want to collab with that person, but they only did it because that person was known or that person was liked. Not speaking from experience this time, by the way, because my co-host was cool at the time. I just mean I've seen people get guests on that they don't want on, kind of thing, no?
Yeah.
So that's essentially the idea I'm trying to get out there. Sorry, big tangent rant, but you know it links into the idea of SMPs. So, is there anything else regarding the SMP topic you want to talk about, AJX?
No. It's been a good week, a good start, I'd say, for actual like proper mid MC.
Man, I enjoyed that. Oh, it's so nice. Like, so I love interviewing guests. But it's so nice to just rant and talk about a topic, just waffle away about a topic, you know?
Yeah, it was really nice.
It makes it fun. But with that being said, then this brings the end of Midweek MC, Captain AJX.
Hello, thank you very much for having me.
You're the co-host. What do you mean?
Well, yeah, still, it was good. It was a good episode. That's what I'll say. I'm a mess now. I've thrown myself off. You know what threw myself off? Saying hello. Why did I just say hello?
Well, I'll do the outro then, AJX. Don't worry, I got this. I'll recover it.
Thank you.
This has been Midweek MC waffling about a certain topic in Minecraft. We'll both see you, or at least me, definitely. We'll see you next week where we talk about something else regarding Minecraft, or maybe a general topic. It really just depends. If anything happens this week, you best believe it might be on next week's podcast. Thank you all for watching. Stay safe. Don't eat too much bread. Pieces.